today. We are the Crazy Hope Dealers, and we are coming to you with another video. So today we're just going to talk about something that's been on both of our hearts. We are both parents, and we just kind of have seen our kids go through some different, kind of growth periods that they have, and just the teenage years can be a little trying. And there's good days, there's bad days, but with parenting, we just really wanted to share some wisdom, I guess, that maybe we have. I don't know. But daily as we watch the news, sometimes it can be depressing. There's not much good, except for the weather, and I like to watch the weather sometimes. But we see daily different events that are going on where it seems to be they're getting younger and younger, committing crimes. And it's heart-wrenching to us as parents who, you kind of hope you're doing your best with parenting, and you hope that they're listening to you and, raising them the way that you should. But we just wanted to kind of give some ideas of what we have thought and what has worked with us with parenting. So just knowing that I have a 13-year-old, so I can some of the events that have gone on recently have involved kids around the age as my son, and I just really what did I do to keep him the way he is right now, and what have other parents done that may have been, not as good or different. So it's just kind of, we were just wanted to do this today to kind of see what maybe we could give some advice on things that have worked for us. So Amy, did you have some things that, while you were raising your son that you felt like worked, and things that didn't?
There's a lot of things that worked, and there were a lot of things that didn't. And I'll say right off the bat, I leaned a lot on the Lord and for wisdom with my son, because he's 19 now, and he's off to college, and he's becoming a man. So he's kind of out from our protection now. But when he was younger, we did a lot of things together. Let me tell you some of the things I did right and some of the things that I did wrong. So some of the things that we did right is we stuck to our ground, our rules, and we set the rules. And I was kind of a stickler for rules. And some children respond well to fussing, and some of them don't. And it just depends on the child. But I started out kind of hard with my son. Something I do regret a little bit, but he kind of pushed the boundaries a lot, and I think that happens, and you have to be firm with them. But some of the good things that we did stick to our rules. We did family night. We spent time together, like on Thursday nights. We would do things together as a family. A lot of times he would want his friends, and we would allow his friends to come, and we would always interact with his friends, which was good. Before we remodeled our house, we had two little dens. So one den, and then the next little den was in the right next door. So with the door opening, so I could really kind of see. I would always have my ear tuned to conversations, trying to pick up, something that, maybe he was bothered by, that he said to somebody or even said to me. I would always try to, or to his father, and I would always try to keep a close ear, and then try to talk to him about that. We would get on our knees and pray. every night together. And, that made a big difference. Went to church as a family. We did a lot of things together like that. So those are kind of the good things. But the bad things were that is that at some point you think you can be manipulated. Your child comes to you and is acting so sweet and nice, and something that they want something from you, and so a lot of times I'd be manipulated, and I hate to even admit that, but just as God wants to give us good things, I always wanted to give Cole good things, and so him being an only child, he got a lot of good things, not from his father and I, but like at Christmas, he had birthday that was on the 29th, so he got like a double whammy. Grandparents, everybody, godparents, all these people. So he was never in need of anything, ever in need. We did make him work to do things to earn money, but he really was. When he got older, it seemed like we went from the Christian school into the public school, and his choice of friends were not the best. And so we were trying to navigate through that. And he didn't make some good decisions through that. And, but the good thing was that the Lord was always faithful to speak to us about what we needed to do and how we needed to handle it. And did I make good decisions and everything? Absolutely not. Did not saying I was a perfect parent by any means. But I am happy to say now that we have gotten through high school. We're in college. He's making his decisions. He's a hard worker. Has he made great decisions? No, but we never do. Everybody fails. And, the one thing that I never wanted my son to do was to fail. I wanted to pick up the pieces and stuff, but God taught me, you can't do that. This is the way I'm teaching him. This is the way, this is what I'm trying to do in him that you can't do. And so many times I had to back off, and I'm having to back off now, because he's in college. But I just trust the Lord more and more with his life. So I won't stop being a parent. I'm not going to stop being a parent, but I think I'm getting into that phase of when he graduates, where he's becoming a man, he has his own household to become a friend to him. But the one thing is I've always been a parent to him. He has said to me in the past, "You talk to me too much about God. And I'm tired of that." And I'm like, it's who I am. I'm sorry. I'm going to point you because I know that God works. So
Yes.
I'll be your friend later. Right now, I'm going to be a godly parent. And to think, if something were to happen to me, that's what he's going to remember about me. That means a lot to me. So anyway.
No, that's really good. And it's, with me having two children, like you said earlier about how, some like to be, taught to a certain way for discipline and some the other. Oh my goodness, I had two completely different children that I tried to discipline the same way. And I've learned that one of my children, you can act, she can see the disappointment and she immediately says, "I'm sorry," and then she'll never do it again. Whereas my son, I tried to, I'm not, I don't like sorry, I can't even talk. I don't like the decision that you made, and I feel like, you might need to think about that a little bit more. And then I get the yelling back that, well, you don't understand what I'm talking about. And so then I had to step back and think, no, maybe I didn't understand. Maybe I have to listen and see how he meant it, because I could be taking it wrong myself. And so, and then once I did and he explained it, then, sometimes I am in the wrong. Sometimes I jump to conclusions, and then he, well, he's very smart. So he kind of puts me, to where I have to think about things a little bit more with him. Whereas my daughter was just, she always wanted to please. And so she didn't want anybody being upset, and my son could care less. so, so it's, but just learning through two completely different children, it is a growth part on the parents' part, because you have to kind of, move forward a little bit, and then you're like, oh, okay, that didn't work, so we got to move backwards a little bit.
Yes.
And then you have to like move to the left a little bit, and then you're like, that didn't work either, so you move back to the right. So it's kind of, it's a learning curve. We never got a manual as parents. I wish we did. We can just go chapter 4, this is what's happening, you need to do this, but we never did. So I think, just, and I know Amy feels the same with parenting. We have to really step in the shoes of your children and think, as a parent, we have so much more wisdom because we live longer. They have not lived that long, and they're just trying to learn things by trial and error. And so the key point is knowing that they feel secure in their house. They feel like somebody cares about them, and they feel like they can have communication with the people, with their family members. Because when times get hard, when they start, having different struggles at school or with friends, if the communication is not there, then they're going to go to other friends and get advice, which their friends are the same age as them, and they don't have the wisdom that an adult has. So they could, kind of veer them in a direction that is not the direction they need to go into. And it's not because they're, maybe they don't have the worst intentions about it, but it's just the experience is not there. So, so it's kind of, as we were talking about recent events, my heart really hurts because I feel like, these are children that are committing these crimes. And we're not putting blame on anyone, parents, nobody. It's just what did we do with our children that was maybe not done, or maybe it was done with those children, and what turned the difference, like for them to commit those crimes. And we're not perfect as parents. We make a lot of mistakes, but I think the key point is if they feel loved, they feel a part of something, if they know that their family is their safe place, then I think that means everything. And that's what I've always tried to do with my family, to where, we had a instance in school, at our school, that was a bullying incident. And my child would come home and would just talk about, what was going on. And, as the mom, I was wanting to go in and fight battles. But a lot of that is just on the back end, supporting your child and telling them, they are fearfully and wonderfully made by God, and that they are important, and that they really, because those people are doing that, doesn't mean that it may not even be something they have done to cause that. It's just because they really, those other kids may be going through stuff at home that we don't know about. And so it's kind of like you have to take everything that happens and just put, God's grace and on it because you don't know what other people are going through. You don't know how their lives are. But yet, we need to try to do the best with our children because God gave us them to raise, and they're His, but He gave us them to raise so that we can raise them up in His ways, and so that we train them how to handle the world. And I think that's just it's hard, but it's what we have to do.
We don't think a lot, a lot of times God says, in His Word that He created our children. He created them. He knitted them together in the mother's womb. He gave them their DNA, everything, and He knows them better than we do.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the reason why it's so important to go to God and to ask Him, and give Him credit. Give Him credit, saying, you created my son or my daughter. Mm-hmm. You know everything about them. They are fearfully and wonderfully made. Lord, show me what I need to do. I know there's a lot of children that only have one parent. Mm-hmm. And, there's boys that are, they don't have their mothers or they don't have their fathers. The same with a daughter. And if they are not getting the attention that they want, then they will search that out. If you have a child that's adopted, that's so important too, because they may be harboring feelings in themselves that they don't know what to do with it. They don't know how to handle it. These are issues that these kids are dealing with, and we have to go to our Creator created them to understand what to do, what to say. We have to depend on Him for that. And how important that really is in parenting. We can't do everything on our own. And it seems like every time I tried to do things on my own instead of really consulting God, things just fell apart. I can't tell you how many times I messed up. It's a shame to even say some of the things that I ever did, but God always fills in the gaps. I couldn't fix it. He always fills in the gaps. And prayer is so important because it's so effective. I mean, it is so effective. There were times where, that God answered a prayer in my son's life instantly. Whereas my son wouldn't listen to me, he listened to the Lord, or he listened to somebody else that spoke the words that he needed to hear. So don't ever count what God can do out, because even if you feel like you have lost control of your son or daughter right now, don't count God out, because He is willing and He's fully able to use you in their life and help them to feel loved and accepted and to change them from the inside out. I've seen that done so many times. So don't ever count God out.
Right. And there's just like what you were saying, there are so many parents that are, just trying to do it by themselves. They don't have, a husband or a wife, or they may have one, but they're preoccupied and they don't take time with the family. It's super important to let your child know that, hey, I put my phone down. I put it down. And I got up and I walked and said, hey, what would you like to do for a little while? Let's go do something. And because that means everything to them. They know that their parent, put down their phone. They put down their work. They, took away everything and just wanted to spend time with them. And, also like Amy said, you search for attention. Everybody searches for attention. And you can't say that, there's some people that say, no, I don't need attention. Everybody needs attention. And if you're not getting it, you do search for it. And I know a study a while back, they interviewed a lot of teenage girls, and I forgot how many it was, but and they were all like, some were in good families where the husband and the wife were very active within the family. Then you had some that, had maybe a mom that was very involved, but the dad was not. And then you had ones that, the opposite, where the dad was very involved and the mom was not. So at the end of the study, they tracked through their teenage years. And at the end of that, the kids that had the parents that were both involved, both spent time with the daughter equally, those kids ended up usually getting married to someone who appreciated them, who loved them, and they pretty much modeled the same relationship that their mom and dad had. The girls that had the dads that were not present in their life, a lot of them were promiscuous. A lot of them went through relationships, and they were just not happy. They felt like they were trying to fill a void. And then the others, it's really that if the dad was involved in this model and the mom was not, those girls still turned out okay. Which I thought was very interesting, because the daughter-dad relationship is super important, because that's where they model how they find their husband. And if their dad spends time with them and appreciates them and loves them, then they're going to be searching for someone just like their dad. And so, and it's the same with the boys and the moms. The boys, need to have that relationship with the mom, because they're going to be looking for wives, and they're more than likely going to model that after how their mom treated them. So it's just super important. And, we just wanted to get on here to kind of give you a little, some of our wisdom, maybe. I think, I pray for wisdom, because in this world, you never know. And having wisdom, it's definitely only from God. And so give him all the glory, definitely.
Brandy, I think there's some parents out there, who are single moms or single dads, and they're wondering, the thing is that we're all having to work. We're having to work really hard for our money these days. So a mama may be working two jobs, trying to support her children. And how does she do that and, have the relationship with her children, but also make sure that she has somebody in her life that can help her with her children? That's so important. It does take a village, for that. For me, the same thing. There were times where my child would not listen to me, but they listened to the youth pastor, or they listened to somebody that is their godfather, somebody that, so we found people at church and people that we loved, and said, would you mind mentoring and helping us? And so I would say that to any single parent, man or woman, if you've got children, pray that God would, let you know who you could pull people in that would have a great influence on your children, because that's so important. I mean, they need to be able to look up to somebody and to love them, and also, have a perspective other than just ours. Right. A lot of times, but make sure that it aligns with ours, yes, our opinion.
Definitely.
But that's so important. And to do that, they need to have great godly mentors in their lives.
Okay. Yeah, that's definitely true. And that's, something that it is, most people know somebody in their life that's a single parent. So that's a good thing to think about, just because you don't have that other,
Yeah.
partner.
Well, if you know somebody that is a single parent and puts it on your heart, offer
Right.
that. Offer that. Get to know their kids, get to know who they are, and offer that, because it could be a big thing that parent needs.
Yes, definitely. Well, yes, and thank you for giving that perspective, because there are people out there that would love to help with that. We have some people in our church that just they look for people to be able to mentor and children, and so it's there are people in churches like that and just all around. But again, just wanted to let you know kind of what we were thinking and today, and hope this helped someone. Just remember to subscribe to our channel, and if you have any questions about anything, just email us. But we'll see you next time. Thanks.
Bye.